coming up the gangplank and stepping onto the deck, because had seen the ship from the darkness in the water, and it was like another universe really. It was like somewhere else, like stepping onto the deck. I have this real memory of like coming back to the world, out there in the Tasman in the dark at night time on your own in the water is not this world, it's that somewhere else. And so what it was like this disbelief, and it was just bang, onto the deck, open the door, down the hall, into a sick bay. They thought I was going to have hypothermia and stuff, and they had this bath ready. I'm like, nah mate, I've got a wetsuit, I'm fine. But I got covered in jellyfish, so just ripping my gear off and getting into a shower, just bam, 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 and there's people around, and I'm alive, and I wasn't expecting that. So what it was like a miracle. It was like coming back to some place that I knew, but that I hadn't been in. The Tasman Sea in the winter in the dark on your own swimming is not, it's not here. It was like I was angry with them when I was in the water because they were so far away. Even when I'd hit the side of the boat and look up, 20 metres up, and they're just these little heads, and they weren't speaking English because they don't speak English, and they were just yelling at each other and, do this and that, and then I'd be under the back. And as I'd come towards them, I'd yell, throw me a rope, and obviously they were trying, and, so they were like these things on the other planet, trying to communicate in some way. And you could see it like 20 metres up, it's still a long way, and they'd fire the ring and it would come towards me for a metre, and then the wind would just take it, and it would end up, 30 metres that way. And it was obviously very hard for him. It was a miracle, really, I think, getting a guy out of the water after 3 hours at night time. And they were felt like they were part of the miracle, it seemed, and hoping some might rub off on them. Or they were just lovely, gentle guys. And that was wonderful too. It was like 2 days I spent with them. And at first it was all very formal, but as the days went by, each one of them could tell me their story, because they all had a story. There was the guy who threw me the first ring, but it didn't have a rope on it. And he was so gutted, he thought that he'd done a really bad thing, like, I'm sorry, there was no rope to it. And I'm like, mate, don't be sorry. It got me up out of the water, which helped so much. I stopped breathing water, and it really helped. And it also meant the other crew were telling me, as soon as I was in that, they could see the reflective gear so much better, and so it really did. And I was able to say to them, you threw me a life rig, don't hate yourself, don't be angry, it was so good. There were so many things that they did that could have ended up in them being hurt, killed, in the water, and I'm glad too, if they had have got me out and someone else had have died, that would have been horrible. The obvious thing is that I'm sitting in this room because I had a beacon, a 406 beacon that worked, that was registered, that they could ring and tell immediately, yeah, it's not a random offset, yes, he would have set it off for sure. Had a beacon, had a harness, had a wetsuit, had a plan, and I get a beacon and get it registered. Interestingly, I spent 2 days on board, and the captain, just before I got off in Cairns, the captain said to me, he spent his lifetime on the ocean, and that he never understood why people would go to sea on their own in a yacht. I knew he wasn't asking me to explain it to him. What he was saying was that he didn't get my ass out of the water for me to do that again, so don't be doing that. He did say, look, go sailing, but go with your mates. Don't go on your own. And I've got this idea that someone that saves your life's got his opinion can be listened to more than others, and so I've kind of decided that I won't go sailing out on the ocean on my own again. If I have mates that maybe go, and that's a possibility, but won't be doing it alone again.